a WhatsApp group can have such deep impact and it doesn't cost anything.
In SAGI now, of course, this is purely practice management. And we have all these people, 624 members. We had a vendor call yesterday where some people are looking into some of these AI-based applications for practice management. So I went to my office and asked, hey, how much do we pay for a capsule? Some of us did not know the answer to that. We didn't pay that much attention. And once we realized it, I'm like, hey, what are you using? What are you using? How much does it cost you? We realized there was a lot of discrepancy in the cost too, because it's your negotiating power.
What I just heard you say turns the MSO model on its head.
Is it FibroScan? Is it Velacure, Mindray, Hepatis? There are many companies, and you don't have the time to go vet all of those. There were two codes before, and now there's one code, and it says lower payment than both of them. So there's so much discussion. People are like, what are you doing? What are the societies doing? So I do want to make unified group, like all GIs on one platform. And the reason for that would be, one is the advocacy thing, one is to vent and share and, whatever your frustrations are, because you're in good company. Every one of us is going through the same thing.
I've had one too many conversations on this where they consider leaving GI altogether.
He might have thought that he could bully a woman into, just agreeing or whatever. And she's like, did you do this? Have you done this?
Burnout. It's a topic we talk at a surface level. Dr. Neelima Reddy, a very, very warm welcome to the Scope Forward show. I've been looking forward to this conversation for a long time now. You're a gastroenterologist from Louisiana, and then you are also the governor for ACG for the state of Louisiana. I have an unofficial introduction, which I'll get to in a moment, but I just wanted to first welcome you.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm super excited to be here and share a lot of good things.
So, Neelima, this is what Dr. Lata Alaparthi wrote to me when she introduced you. So she's Dr. Neelima Reddy, who is a gastroenterologist in the state of Louisiana, and her group is part of GIA. As I briefly mentioned, Dr. Reddy is a powerhouse who has single-handedly brought many GI MDs under two WhatsApp forums, allowing for shared thoughts, vendor intros, demos, business intel sharing, and more. She helps lead a nonprofit in India and is a huge advocate for meditation, yoga, and art of living. And she said, I must definitely have you on the Scope Forward show. And I can't agree more, having spent some time with you and learning about what you do. I'm really excited to learn more and share this with the wider GI community.
A little bit of everything, and same here. When I bought your book on Amazon, the Mastermind book, and I was looking through that, and I've actually gifted it to a couple of people, and thought this is interesting. These are fancy people doing fancy things. So never thought I'd be here on your show with you.
Awesome. So what I took away from our previous conversation was actually this. I have no qualms in saying it. I figured that there is a Indian or a South Asian GI mafia going on, and you're the ringleader who brought this mafia together. So I'm really excited to know, how do these things happen? And Scope Forward show has always been about innovation. Like, I came away after our previous conversation saying that, wow, a WhatsApp group can have such deep impact and it doesn't cost anything, like in terms of money. Like, we think technology has to be like a big EHR kind of implementation, complicated and all of that. And this is free, other than the generous use of your time. I'm sure the technology itself is free and so much can be done. And that's what I'm excited to share with the Scope Forward community.
No, it's funny how it came about. I think my WhatsApp group experience has been with my nonprofit, which we started in 2016 with ACOM USA, We have several chapters, and each chapter has a WhatsApp group, but we have a national group. So I've got kind of used to that format essentially, and keeping things regularized, organized. And it helps a lot between that and Google Drive, things like that. So when we were at ACG a couple of years ago in 2024, we crashed into a women in GI luncheon that I was not registered for. And we went there, and Simona Muley and I were there, and we both kind of looked at each other, looked around the room, and there were like Indian women to the left, Indian women to the right. There's so many Indian women GIs. So like, how come we don't have a group? That was the first thought I got. So that night we went to dinner with all the people that we met there, and six of us said, let's start a group. We talked around with names, and we said it needs to be catchy. So we had SWAG, which is South Asian Women Gastroenterologists. You could do it this way, that way. We said it's SWAG. So we started off at six, and we started adding people, and now it's like 230 people in that. And then it was kind of tugging at me. We were having fun, introducing, meeting each other. We went to the ACG in Charlotte, out in Philadelphia after that. And we met up, and there were like 50 of us there. So that was so much fun. I don't think any of us attended any of the courses. So we were just busy socializing, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So, but what was tugging at me was we were leaving the men out. It's the connection, and we all kind of see each other, talk to each other. So next ACG, we said, let's start another group. Started out as Indian Gastroenterologist Group, IGG or something. I added a few people I know. I'm like, please add your friends. And they were kind of iffy. So then one day we just kind of met some more people, and Rajat was there, and Jogi was there. Some of us brought their own friends. Let's say we meet up for lunch. And then during the postgraduate course, I just created a poll in the group, said who wants to go for lunch and meet other people. And within 20 minutes, there were like 30 people that responded, and we all went out and had to find a big enough restaurant to meet up. And everyone had so much fun meeting each other, introducing each other, connecting, introducing their friends, calling their friends. So that's how the group started growing. And right now, then we said South Asian because all of us do the same thing. So it doesn't matter. So not like strictly Indian. So it's South Asian, mostly I think they're Indian. So now we are about 620 members in SAGI, and it keeps growing. Wherever we go at conferences and stuff, I give homework and classwork to all the members. Like I made a QR code, say you have to add your friends to this. And that's how it grows.
That's very, very cool. I actually want to dive deeper into it. And we talked about you sharing and showing us what it looks like, and
Sure.
What these groups are. How do you manage, and what do you guys even talk about?
Everything. So we started off at SWAG, right? I'll be happy to share and show some of these things. So right now we're at 253 members. So anything and everything, like if there's a question, we'll ask them. Right now we're talking about ergonomics, and the physical therapist told them you have to sleep with so many pillows. You can't keep your elbows bent. I said, who's taking the obesity boards? And do you all have some, a letter to give out to primary care physicians? Similar discussions between SWAG or SAGI, one of them, right? And how do you get involved with some advocacy issues? So there's anything and everything, nothing is taboo. So we've been talking about that. And then we go to SAGI. We have, we called it practice management because it was going to be only practice, and we didn't want anything to be distracting. If you start talking about anything and everything, then the WhatsApp group gets really confusing. So we didn't want that. So in SAGI now, of course, this is purely practice management, and we have all these people, 624 members. And yesterday I was at a conference, and we were talking about reimbursements, and you can see this was a sad slide, as people said. And they have what is going on with the gastroenterologist, and there is a lot of discussion when somebody posts something about it. Then we had a vendor call yesterday where some people are looking into some of these AI-based applications for practice management. So we vet a couple of vendors, 3 or 4, whoever is in that space. As group admin, some of us do that, or if somebody had experience with a particular company, they will come and approach me on how we can introduce it to the group. So both sides benefit. The vendors getting exposure, and different groups, they just attend an hour call, and we'll have two or three vendors which we can talk more about, ask questions. So that's evolving into a very useful kind of place. And these are some of the discussions. This is like what I learned yesterday about the decrease in the RVU with the efficiency cuts. So that was some information that was presented in a good format, and we shared that. And anything and everything can be talked about. And this is Dr. Sharma, Pratik Sharma, got a Padma Bhushan. So we want to, congratulate ourselves when somebody becomes an ACG fellow
For
or governor.
context, Neelima, for context for the audience, please say how important Padma Bhushan is in India.
Yes, yes. So this is the highest honor that you can receive in India. And this was Dr. Pratik Sharma was the ASU president, and he has done some volunteer work in India through the government of Andhra Pradesh. So this is the president that is recognizing him in New Delhi, along with all the famous celebrities. So it's an amazing award, and somebody like one of us is getting that is something we're all proud of, and that's why we were able to showcase that, and everybody that knew him, didn't know him, had congratulated him. And you can see these are all some of the discussions that we have in the group, from day-to-day practice to management to revenues, how we have to fight the current environment with the blood tests, stool tests. There's no end to it. Like there's 600 people, so you can only imagine how that is. It's like a rowdy class, but we have to keep it under control. That's my job. I'm the monitor.
And how do you do that?
Well, we have strict rules. I'm a very mean admin at that, and everybody knows. So if you post something that doesn't belong there, you get a public warning and a private warning, and the message may get deleted. But also, everybody in the group should know that you can't do this, because then it becomes a clutter. So people actually find it refreshing to come to these groups because they're very clean. If you want only GI information with no good mornings, no happy birthdays, nothing like that, then that's when they come here. And the biggest advantage of WhatsApp over all the other ways of networking is that instant gratification. So I had started originally another WhatsApp group. GI Circle was just all my GI friends. I said, you know what, if I have a question before I go read up about it, I can just post here and somebody's going to answer, right? And the same for the other people. And that's when I started adding anybody I meet at conferences, saying, hey, do you want to join this group so we talk about anything GI? And while that was growing on one side, and here, the main thing is making sure that everybody is, regulated enough to talk only about GI issues. And that's why we separated this one into practice management, and because people have clinical questions. So I had to create a separate group for that.
Wonderful. I saw when you shared the about section of the WhatsApp, there's a QR code. Can you please pull that up, like so that if people watching want to just point their camera on that QR code, they should be able to,
Yeah,
and just
absolutely.
sign
So
up.
this is Sagi would be for South Asians only, right? So
Yeah.
that's kind of how we started out with, and could just join this group by looking at this. This for any South Asian GIs, they can just join using this code and add their friends. Once they join, it's people that you know personally, no random people. We just don't put it like online or anywhere like that. It's still a private group to just for the security of the members. I do want them in between to update their privacy settings, make sure their two-step verification is on, because that's the biggest challenge with WhatsApp is, of course, hacking. And even if one person's WhatsApp is hacked, everyone else is at risk. So that's why some of the admins are always constantly monitoring. If there's a odd message that pops up, we always make sure it's real. Somebody meant to post that.
Got it. Okay. No, thank you for sharing this. Now, this whole WhatsApp, I'd like to say it's a very Indian thing. Not everybody uses, WhatsApp in the US. But the Indians, or maybe if I may broaden it, like the immigrant community largely would use WhatsApp because everyone wants to call home, do the video calls, and everyone's perpetually on WhatsApp. People maybe on TikTok, Insta, and some people on LinkedIn. But this WhatsApp is a a unique thing for South Asian
Very
community.
South
But
Asian.
yeah,
Yes.
but having seen what you just shared, the issues that you're talking about, practice management issues, assessing vendors, sharing intel, trading notes, talking about ergonomics. What's so South Asian about it? I know you have shared that you've broadened this. Like, so can you talk about that as well?
Yeah, so it's not South Asian. That's when we realized, although we started off like this, and there is some common bond, right? That's why we connect so easily with other people that are Indian or South Asian. There's a connection. It's easy to bond. But we also realize it's gastro community, anyone and everyone we meet at the conference. I'm like, what am I going to do with you if you don't have WhatsApp? I don't know where to put you. And if you are not Indian, I don't know where to put you, but I already had my GI circle group going on. So I said, okay, and it's really yesterday I met somebody Ethiopian and she had WhatsApp. Somebody that had traveled across to another country, they had WhatsApp. So some of the Americans also have, there's some of the local people like from here, born and brought up in America, they also have WhatsApp. But some of them don't, and we're still trying to figure out the perfect platform. If it's Facebook, some people don't have it. But again, all gastroenterology share the same problems, questions, concerns, and the strength is in numbers. If we all get together, is when we'll be able to do some things. So that's when we continue to expand to the gastro communities. And this is open to anyone. Any gastroenterologist can join gastro communities. And we started with the gastro circle, which we've made it into just practice management issues. So anyone I meet at the conferences is, anyone anywhere with that meetup, same thing. I go around and pull up my QR code, and this is a growing number, 230 members. And the only reason I didn't want one is it becomes too many to control in one WhatsApp group. I think it limits to 1,000 or something. That's only separation really, because it doesn't matter if South Asian or not. So this one is where any gastroenterologist can work. And Sagi people are in here because they do have a very enthusiastic discussion about anything comes up. They're very passionate about it. So I need to motivate some of the people in this group. And I've asked my friends to come discuss over here. So everybody knows about this. So the reason this came out is also because there are always clinical questions, patient questions. There is what medicine do you use? And we all share each other's experience. So that's why this clinical circle group is of everyone from everywhere. And there are a couple of academic type of practitioners here. Like one of my partners, Dr. Rao, is very popular for, he'll pull up an article. We have Sushovan Gupta, and he's involved with fellows. They guide us, lead us. The rest of us who don't know where to look, what to do, we can go to ChatGPT or Open Evidence, but this is vetted by these academic kind of practitioners, and they really guide us. And we are just starting to have like once a month call on a clinical topic that's relevant. It's not like a academic or didactic talk, but very practical and interactive of what do you do in your practice and what can I do to help my patients. So it's definitely towards better patient care. Then I started realizing there are quite a few hospital employed physicians who are not into the day to day private practice because the hospital is doing that. So, well, that's how we started one more group, hospital employed physicians. And you can see a ton of people started joining that too. The last I did, okay, 44. And yesterday we started academic circle. I'm like, I don't know what academic doctors will do, but they're like, hey, we can invite each other for speakers. There are some unique challenges with that. And surprisingly, people think there are not enough solo practitioners, but we have a lot of solo practitioners that have their own GI practices. And we thought we should create a safe space for them to what kind of issues do they face. And same thing for advanced GIs. There is a question, somebody don't know, they will go to the ZUS ERCP group. So funny thing, in the community is if you join one group, and I put people in this mothership, and they can see all of these other groups, and wherever they belong, they'll go join, and with their kind of their kind of crowd, and they will have their own discussions. So we're not ignoring one group.
How do you get the time? Are you perpetually on WhatsApp, like you're scoping and then like, wait, let me just check my WhatsApp and then come back? Like
Yeah,
it's a lot of groups, right? And you
right.
mentioned earlier that you got this idea from the nonprofit that you work on, and that was also or is also a WhatsApp community. How do you get the time to do all of this?
Yes. So thanks to my husband because he lets me get on my WhatsApp addiction. But it really doesn't take that long. If I post the same message in 5 groups, it takes like three forwards, right? It's 10 seconds. But it's just keeping your brain clear of the clutter. And I enjoy it and I like keeping things. And I've always liked being efficient. So if I found something I want to share with others, and that's the reason I think we came here, anything that's good and can be shared and learned from other people too. So I do my sky breathing, which is art of living. And since I've done that, of course, nothing clutters my mind. So my phone is cluttered, yes, but it keeps my mind clear. So if I'm talking to Praveen, that's all I'm doing right now. I have like 10,000 things to do before and after. They will be done at their own time. So that gives me a lot of efficiency and peace, so 24/7 peace of mind. And that's why I feel like I'm able to handle my nonprofit or office work and things like that. So it's a very beautiful thing, and it's a CME approved program for physician burnout. And I recommend that to my patients, my colleagues, my family members, anyone and everyone. I kind of wait for them to say the word stress and say, you should do this.
I want to talk about sky breathing and your solution for burnout. But before we go fully into that, I have like one more question or two related to the SAGI groups and the practice management group itself. All of these groups, like it's been about what now, like 2 years?
2 years, yeah,
Yeah. And I recall you saying from one ACG meeting to the next. And then now here
that's it.
you are, like, so SAGI being 650 plus people, the SWAG group, the women's group, 300 plus people. And then you have the newer groups growing. Like I saw the solo
Yeah,
practitioners are 60 or 75, academic and hospital groups and
hospital.
yeah, all of this. It's fantastic. When you reflect back on this entire period, what would be one, two, or three big highs that you got that wouldn't have been possible without this community coming together?
So the best part was meeting at ACG, and as people were trying to go into the postgraduate course and say, "I want to listen to this talk," it's like, "No, no, no, it's recorded. Just come over. We have to go eat, meet other people, and networking." And I was told by my friend Simona, I was like, "Neelima, all the stuff happens outside the meeting, not inside the talks," and that's so true. And I think we've learned something more valuable because you can always learn from the recorded talks. And I think everyone has gained from that, from everyday experiences, because this is what you live with. You wake up, you have to go to work and take care of your patients and be efficient in that. I was at the ASG Practice Management Conference, and it's so many 360 aspects to 360 degrees of this. And we all need to put our brains together to come to something that'll help all of us. That's definitely the best part. And I love to do polls because people do not fill Google Forms or any surveys and all. So when I put a poll, though, you'll see the number go from 10, 20, 30, 40 responses. And it's good to see that. And we meet up, and everywhere you go, you have a friend. Anywhere you go, you have a friend. Any question you have, that instant gratification, you get the answer right away. That gives you a high.
Has there been any business impact or a story communicating business impact that comes to mind, like significant business impact?
When we started off, it was smaller, but now too, just like example would be a capsules. We all use capsules, and I didn't know much about business of medicine, but I started learning when people started posting and asking. So I went to my office and asked, "Hey, how much do we pay for a capsule?" Some of us did not know the answer to that. We didn't pay that much attention. And once we realized it, I'm like, hey, what are you using? What are you using? How much does it cost you? We realized there was a lot of discrepancy in the cost too, because it's your negotiating power. And the biggest problem was if you're a small group or one or two people or solo practitioner, you don't have that negotiating power as some of the big groups with 20 people or like private equity groups have that. So that's why the strength in numbers is we reached out to the different types of vendors and said, come and present to this. We'd like to know more about your product, and we'll do it all together. And then share our experience, ask some questions, and then say, there's so many of us that are willing to buy this product, so it give us a good negotiating power. Officially, we're trying to make an IPA, and hopefully that will give us more strength in doing these things. But right now, it has been a very positive experience that everyone is saving money too and saving time by having somebody that's already vetted and connecting with whether it's the scopes or equipment or EMRs, any of these things by sharing our experience. So that's been really useful.
That's amazing because what I just heard you say turns the MSO model on its head. Because what is the fundamental premise of the MSO model? The MSO model says that everything is fragmented. We're coming, we'll help you consolidate, we'll bring in efficiencies. And with efficiencies, you can negotiate better rates, maybe with insurance companies, maybe with vendors, and all of that, and we'll streamline. I could get like a sense of like an MSO type of framing from this WhatsApp group. Isn't like that's
Yeah.
surprising to me. Like, so what? Wonder what you think
Right.
about it.
It's a reverse MSO, you're right. And that's the whole beauty of it is every single person has strength here by themselves, by their experience, but together because it's united but divided, right? So they're all different practices. And that's the question we came up with. If we had to buy, there's no way we could buy it together. We just have to say, hey, we are all part of Sagi. And, you should consider us as one group because we're coming to you is all we can say. Nothing official though. MSO needs a lot of paperwork. If you're an organization or an IPA, there's some things you can do, some things you can't. This is unofficial. We're just sharing and exchanging information. So we're able to do more actually. And this is a very nice vision, and it only happens. I can say I can't take all the credit for this. It happens because of the people in it that they want to learn, they want to share. It's beautiful how everybody is willing. They were almost like waiting for a WhatsApp group to be there the way they join and the way they participate and answer each other and kind of guide each other. Don't do this, do this. And we have some people with different kind of experiences, early career physicians, some of them ready to retire, but they've gone through hospital employed and locums, and they're like, do this, don't do this. So that kind of thing is helping the group. There's the variety of it. We have early career physicians, and we actually started a GI fellows group because a lot of people in the group were recruiting, and it's hard to recruit these days. And a lot of the fellows were being recruited. But one thing we noticed is you don't want to go join a job and then be abused, as in you don't understand the language. How do you negotiate? What kind of things to look for? What kind of questions to ask? And out of fellowship, none of us learn any of that. So we want to guide our younger generation, and it has been so useful for them because they said, don't do this mistake that I did. Make sure you have everything written down in a contract. And that's the kind of help I think we can give to the younger generation. And they are part of SAGI, part of the GI Circle, and they're all, they're right from the beginning, even during fellowship. I've said, like, is this kind of boring to you, the practice management? They're like, no, 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 we would have never learned this. These are the things we want to learn. Same thing for hospital employed physicians. I was guilty that they didn't have their own group before, but they're like, no, these are issues we never come across. What if I go to a different job? These things are unique, and I'm learning them as we go.
Very interesting. Have you brought this up? I'm curious with ACG, because part of now we talked about the overlap with the MSO, but now with what you're telling me about the GI fellows, I'm thinking, isn't that the work of the GI societies? And what do they have to say when you're doing this
Yes and
informally
no.
and on the side?
Right. So I kind of said some things, but they can do some things as an organization they can't, but I can do whatever I want. So that's the benefit of it. So because I've talked to them about advocacy when you saw that the reimbursements were going down, and I posted a link in the past that ACG is doing this effort. Why don't you all call your representative for surveillance colonoscopy if you have a history of polyps? Insurance makes you pay; they don't cover it. So, commercial insurance, and I've been very passionate about it for the last 5 years, going to DC, advocating it through ACG and other societies and all of that. And at this point, it was critical. The more people call their representatives and senators, they would vote for this. So, but we have some degree of apathy, like, oh, we're busy, I'm too busy to call, and so I called, I made my nurses call, whoever I knew, Facebook, all these groups, that was the beauty of it. I had to post one link and say, if you don't care about it, nobody will. It's going to affect you, your patients, your family members. And I posted the link and I would never know how many did it, right? So I put a poll saying, I have done this. So you're supposed to answer there that you come back and confirm to me. And same thing for anything like I'm attending this call. So that was actually very helpful. So going back to ACG, I brought it up to them when this advocacy thing came. Hey, we're all busy, and if we don't call, guess who has the time to call and who wants to save the world? College students. So I asked them, could we have a college student or pre-med or high school student department essentially, where we could train them in doing this advocacy and they would get something in return. They can put it in their CV, they can get an award or a certificate, and they're looking into it. It's a fresh idea. And that way, these are bipartisan bills. These are medical bills that'll help our patients. So there's nothing controversial about it. And the students need to know the business of medicine from now. So, but of course, it's taking some time, so I can't wait. So I went ahead and had a Zoom call last week, got some college students together. We made a Google form to invite other students so they all can learn about the current issues and can start working on this too.
Different question. Like if a vendor is watching this, listening, and saying that, okay, this sounds great, just like the capsule vendor presented to this group, how can I approach this group and present? What is the way for them to do that?
I guess at this point, they'll just reach out to any GI doctor that's part of the group, one of the SAGIs. So hopefully, most of us are in there. Not everyone, there's still a lot that have not been tapped into the groups, but or they can email me like neelima@acamusa.org through my nonprofit. That's the email I check. And we can vet and talk about things. And if it's something that's useful to the group, we can definitely bring it up, like chronic care management. There's so many ancilleries in this day and age for practices to survive and sustain. These are things that some people were not aware of or they didn't have time to vet. These are all productive ancillaries. And whether it's, these days we have a lot of fatty liver going on and we have some new medicines that are coming on board. So how do you check for that? Is it FibroScan? Is it Velacure, Mindray, Hepatis? There are many companies and you don't have the time to go vet all of those. So that's what we're doing on behalf of the group. And every day, like we had the AI-based company yesterday, Arithmetics, that came and presented. And we have some other practice management vendors that are lined up for the month of July. And nobody loses anything, and you get the most out of it for your 1 hour of time.
You have these calls on Zoom, I take it, like once a week. Once a week? Is it once a week, once a month?
It depends. It
It depends.
depends on the, vendors availability. All of us, we do like either a weekday evening or a weekend in the afternoon. And that seems to work for most people. And I save the recordings. And my thing is to keep it organized enough in Google Drive so anybody can access this. Somebody will come back and answer. There was a big discussion about anorectal manometry because there were two codes before, and now there's one code, and it says lower payment than both of them. So there's so much discussion. People are like, what are you doing? What are the societies doing? I'm like, okay, first you have to be a member of the society if you want the society to do something, right? And then you need to be part of it and do something to know what they're doing also. Since I'm doing some of this, I understand it. And what they did was we called Dr. Satish Rao as the motility expert. And I invited him to come to a call where he explained the difference and why and how it makes sense that the current code actually pays more and is the appropriate code. We also looked at a new invention that he's coming up with that is going to help the patients who have fecal incontinence, which is a terrible condition. And we're waiting for the FDA approval. And there were some investment opportunities that somebody in the group were interested in. So it's actually taken a unique turn, and people like, oh yeah, I want to invest. And we had another vendor investment pitch this weekend about new ring is one of those measurable rings that measure the heart rate and all of that. So, and we asked the group, should we even include this? This is not GI. They're like, no, we want to learn. We do a poll, and that's how we brought it. So I think there's so much more scope to it. We just have to see how it is going to evolve.
This is so brilliant because then I can see you creating a venture fund and formally and investing, like, Sagi Venture Fund invests in these GI and even medtech startups. I want to get to my final question on this part before we switch to burnout, which is a big topic by itself. But I want to ask you, what's your vision? How do you see all of this evolve?
So right now, I think it's growing. I'm still waiting to see where it's going and what members want, right? It's all of us, and what we want is how we're doing it. The biggest thing in WhatsApp is discussions get lost, although you can go search. And that's why I try to keep it organized. Somebody comes back and says, what was that anorectal? I'm like, go to the group description, look at that recording panel. There's a whole list of things, folders, and you can decide which one you want. We are trying to keep it organized like a membership form. If you're interested in a capsule form, if you're interested in CCM form, and put them all in one place. So there's a lot of information in one Google Doc. I try to keep that organized. So we have to wait and see. And so we're trying to look for the ideal platform still of keeping the discussions organized so they're not lost. People wake up in the morning, they're like, Neelima, there are 200 messages. I know I'm going to keep up with this. So it's a little overwhelming because everybody's constantly talking and there are all two, three conversations going on. We're trying to find a solution. Is it Slack or Reddit or Facebook? We don't know. I do want to make unified group, like all GIs on one platform for unofficial reasons, even like a Facebook thing. We should be able to discuss whatever and have these conversations separate. And the reason for that would be, one is the advocacy thing, one is to vent and share and whatever your frustrations are, because you're in good company. Every one of us is going through the same thing, except we are fighting isolated battles on different islands, and we want to have that together. So what is it, how is it going to come through and help us is yet to be seen. I forgot to mention that we do have a program directors group because they have their own issues, and to share and exchange resources. Because I've always believed you and I and every program director doesn't have to go create a talk on these topics or have to reinvent the wheel. Somebody was starting a new fellowship position, and somehow he got connected to me, and I said, well, guess what, we need a group of everybody together so they can guide you, since I'm not even an academic person, but like I can create a group. So that's also in existence.
Awesome. I'm quite thrilled to learn about all of this, and thanks for sharing. I'm sure it'll be incredibly useful for people listening, whether they belong to the Indian mafia or not, like it doesn't matter. Like, yeah, it's super helpful. Let's switch gears to burnout. I know you brought up that the way you keep a steady head between your scoping and between your practice management and between all these WhatsApp groups and your nonprofit and everything that you do is through what you call, or what you said as, sky breathing. Before breaking that down, I want you to talk about burnout. Like, it's a topic we talk at a surface level, but like when you lift the hood off, how does it actually show up in the GI community? I have my own observations, which I'll share in a moment, but I want to know from you, like, how does it practically show up, this thing with burnout and stress?
Yeah, I think it shows up every day, every minute of your life, except you don't realize it. Some of us are in denial. They're like, I'm okay, right? So when I did the sky breathing, I just walked in because I like yoga and stuff like that. They said this is good for stress relief. I said, I don't have any stress. I'm a full-time mom, full-time employee, two little kids and whatever I was doing. But he said, just do it for every day for 40 days. I said, fine. When I did that, after 40 days, I realized, oh my God, this is normal. What I was not normal. I thought it was, So if that's all you had, that's what you think is normal. And it used to be called a happiness program. And I know why, because you feel happy 24/7, that peace of mind, calmness of mind. When I'm going to the program or I'm doing the breathing, I feel so many thoughts, right? And it's funny, somebody said, Neelima, when I do meditation, when I do breathing, I get so many thoughts, and that's why I stop. I can't do this. I said, you're not getting the thoughts. The thoughts are getting out of your head. That's what happens when you're doing the breathing. I get all these thoughts. I almost like want to write down with a pen and paper. Sometimes I do that because everything comes to you, but it's all coming out so your mind is clear. So when I'm done with it, there's not a thought to think of. I just can't think of anything. That's how clean your brain becomes. And it's a scientific thing. Breath and emotion are connected. There's a book by James Nestor called Breath, and Sky Breathing Art of Living is evidence based, and it's CME approved. So you can use your CME money. Our hospital, actually, it's a Catholic hospital. But when we explained to them about the concept and everything, they paid for the doctors to do it during COVID. I've done it on and off, but in the last 5 years, since November 2021, I have not missed a single day because I know what it feels like when I do it. And it's not, you see, you can't change the world. You can change yourself and your response to what happens outside of you. And that's the beauty of it. So, whatever is happening outside, I am the same. My nurses almost joke with me like, hey, you seem irritated today, Dr. Reddy. Have you not done your breathing? So I'm kind of notorious for that because I tell the nurses, I tell the patients, my nurse is like, no, my stress, no, nothing a glass of scotch can't fix. So that's their view of doing it. But what I'm saying is the physicians, we have to deal with everything from in the morning you wake up, you have to get there on time, make sure the patient's on time. The nurses are there, patient have taken the prep, there's something broke down, somebody didn't show up, the insurance didn't go through, patient's upset. You are responsible. You are the face of everything that happens wrong, at least. So how do you accept? How do you take it? And it's the people that care, the doctors that care, that get burnt out. If you don't care, and there's some of us like they just go around and do what they want, and they don't get burnt out, I feel. So, or they're just putting up a front of not caring because there's nothing they can do. There's so many issues, reimbursement included, and the what the IT people make us do, right? All of those things. And but if you are stable, you're able to deal with these so calmly and efficiently. I finish my notes on time with the patient in the room. I'm happy you're talking to them, connecting with them. And I usually create these workflows or pathways or algorithms, Google Docs. I share with other people at work. I do a little training on my EMR that I've learned because that makes a whole lot of difference. When I show it to people, they're like, oh my God, this changed my life with GMed. And those are the things that I think when your brain is clear, you come up with those kind of things. And that's why I feel like every single person, if they could do this, it takes 20, 25 minutes every day, one weekend to learn it. And it's a life skill, coping skill, however you call it. And I wish everyone would do that for their own sake. And then they can be a better at their job and as a family and everything too.
I want to press on the problem itself a little bit more. This is a solution, and this is one of the many solutions. Like, this is what works for you, and you're suggesting that people try it. Completely agree, and people could find either this or whatever they prefer, right? But coming back to the problem of burnout itself, is there a story or two that comes to mind in gastroenterology specifically, where the underlying story, but we never talk about it, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe the gastroenterologist left medicine altogether because he or she had enough of all of this nonsense that goes on. And where I want to connect the dots is it's not like a, hey, like, I got to be stress free and like, this burnout is a side thing.
Yeah.
It has a significant business impact, and that is what I have seen. Like here we are, where the demand for gastroenterologists is going up, and we don't
Hmm.
have enough gastroenterologists. And added to that, once people hit their mid 50s or early 50s, they are, I've had one too many conversations on this, where they consider leaving GI altogether. The
Yes.
endoscopy, the hand wasn't designed to do as many endoscopies, like, so it's single
Yeah.
movement, like, so, and a lot of them, these three fingers, it connects, it creates a radiating pain going all the way to the shoulders.
Yeah.
And they live with that. And a big thing is, physicians like to brave through it all. And it almost feels like that if you talk about it, then somehow, like somewhere you're small, and your own peers will judge you. So you better not talk about it. You suffer until you can't take it any longer, and then check out of medicine for good.
Right.
That's what I see happening. So I'd love to know what stories you've come across, you've observed. I want the observations that we hesitate to talk about openly.
Right. So you're right. You're absolutely right. I'm on the same observations. My senior most partner, when we got electronic medical record, the computers came on, he said, I'm done. And he's transitioned to hospital where he has residents. He loves teaching, so he works more, earns less, but that's his passion. Two of my senior partners did that. And they enjoy what they do irrespective of the paycheck, essentially. And they just want to keep teaching. And that's amazing how many people can do that or how many can afford to do that because they still probably have bills, especially. And I tell medical students, pre-med students, when they come, I tell them you're really going to medical school at your own cost. Not you want to save the world at your own cost, physically, financially, mentally. It's not just studying and being a good doctor and taking care of patients. If it was just that, I think a whole lot more people would do it, but the financial burden of it, the time it takes, and at the end of it, what is it that we have? And there's been a radical shift in the patients, right? They go online and they read and ask unnecessary questions and necessary questions. And we are used to, okay, I'm going to tell you, this is what you have, this is what you don't have, this is what you need. Now they question us, they don't take us as the ultimate authority. And that is something very hard pill to swallow for us. And that shift, some of us, if we don't adjust and adapt to it, we're going to end up leaving. And the younger generation, of course, they're growing up like that and they're used to seeing that around them. So they're probably more adaptive to that. But again, we don't want them to be abused. And what was done in the past is affecting the reimbursements now. And they're kind of being hit from many sides. We're used to working overnight or doing a call, seeing extra patients. And the younger generation is more like lifestyle oriented, and we should all be that because there's no point seeing more patients if you cannot take care of yourself, and we ignore that part. I've been having some knee pain, and I've started to sit down and scope, and everybody gets these ergonomics issues, and we're going to do some of those talks. We have a couple of people. Navreet is at Mayo, and she actually teaches yoga for these ergonomics. So, what kind of tools can we bring to the group and to everyone on how to keep going? Because we love what we do. There's a passion. I used to say, why would I ever want to retire? This is so much fun to be able to do scopes, to do procedures, and you laugh and connect with your patients. I love to see them, connect with them. And enough that I know they're all getting their medical education online. So I started an Instagram and TikTok last month and said, okay, that's where you're going to get your information. So there are definitely radical shifts and changes in administration and insurance, and that's the biggest problem for us right now is we are not able to do what we learn to do to take care of the patients. How we adapt to it. If we leave or if we say, I can't do this, no one else can. If I don't do it, no one else will. That's kind of how I look at any problem. So even if it's one drop in the ocean, without the drops, there's no ocean. So being, societies is good, being advocacy is good. Is it going to make a difference if I make a phone call? I'll never know if I don't do it, right? And again, connecting these groups have been good for that. Also, somebody says, I got this bad negative review on my Facebook today, on my online website today from a patient who was not happy about the care. So everybody is giving advice on, you know what, this is what happens. This is what I did when it happened. Like, well, I had one negative review and I said, there's nothing I can do about it. So I said, I'm going to overwhelm it with positive reviews. So I just made a QR code of my survey website. I put it at my checkout desk for my nurse. When the patient, we are so shy of asking patients, asking for referrals, all this, right? So I just come out and say, while she's checking out, do me a survey. And most of my patients love me and they do that. So it's 4.9, my rating is. And that 1-star review right now, actually, if you go read it, it says Dr. Reddy was so nice and she listened to everything and answered all the questions and they gave me a 1-star. I think maybe they thought it was 5-star. So I said, I'm going to leave that there. It's somebody that's trying to dig up dirt, right? So simple things like this, because a lot of us do get some negative review from some unhappy patient. So when you know there are other people like you in the same boat, that itself is a strength. So while you're doing these physical things, connecting with that group and knowing we can all doing something together and hoping, right? If we just say this is going to be it and nothing else is going to come out of it versus let me take this up as a challenge and see how I can turn it on its head and make it better for me and my patients. And I think we can definitely bring about some change very slowly, maybe, but I'm hoping for that.
Let's talk about what you were getting to, emotions and breath. What is the evidence that you have found, and what is your personal experience?
So Healing Breaths is the program. Healingbreaths.org is the CME program for the physicians. And like I said, James Nestor's book is Breath, the Ancient, the Lost Art of Breath. And they just, the way the scientifically, if it works, is that breath and emotion are connected. So this was what was told to me was they recorded, like if you're happy, they said, okay, Praveen breathes this way when he's happy. They recorded the happy breathing. They recorded the sad person's breathing, angry person's breathing. When you're angry, you're like short, quick breaths, right? And sad, you're kind of shallow breaths. And when they gave the volunteers these kind of breathing, okay, do the sad breathing. When you did the breathing, the emotion was reproduced. When you did the angry breathing, you got angry. So it worked both ways. And that's been my experience after since the 40 days, whenever I've been doing this. At a normal reaction is toned down, like a sudden noise, I don't jump. I've really noticed that when there's a patient with variceal bleed, the blood vessel is spurting blood, and you would expect some heart rate to go up and have some palpitations. I don't notice my hands are not shaking, very stable. Take the scope out, put the band in, go back in. All of us do that, but I feel I'm able to do it better because I'm not shaking or my heart rate is not going up. My car kind of ran off the side road into a ditch and somebody had to pull me out one time. And the first thing I noticed, first thing is, where's my phone? Second thing is my heart rate is exactly what it is with talking to you right now. It didn't go up one single beat. And that's when I realized my sky breathing is working. And this has happened like the patient's going down, desaturating during a procedure, there's a code blue. I'm just like the same. And that doesn't mean you don't need that adrenaline rush to be able to do what you need to do. I'm still doing my chest compressions. If anything, I'm thinking clearly what happened, what should happen next, who should I call. All these are happening without getting that adrenaline, fight or flight. You can still do that. And that's the beauty of it in my personal experience in many different things. You're really good at arguments too, because you don't raise your voice, you maintain your cool. And there was one where a lawyer came because there was some kind of concern for opening a patient's chart. I did the right thing. I know I didn't do anything wrong. But this lawyer came in, my malpractice attorney warned me, Dr. Reddy, you don't have to talk or answer if you don't have to. And he was sitting across, and he might have thought that he could bully a woman into just agreeing or whatever. And she's like, did you do this? Have you done this? After all the initial questions, I'm just sitting at him like, no, Did you talk all this person? No, this is all he would get. So I think they just stopped it. And that was my best experience of that. I'm like, if I had, worried a little bit or said something, it would have gone the wrong way. So I think all of us need it. Doesn't matter, women, men, doctors, patients, everybody. And I tell my patients, it's the brain gut axis. So you fix your brain, that's where the problem is that's causing your gut symptoms, then your gut will get better. There's no point trying to give you medicine just for the gut. I tell them like it is, and some of them say, yeah, that's why we come to you.
What a wonderful conversation, Neelima. Like, is there anything else that you wanted to talk about or bring up?
I think this is the great platform for just networking for any and everyone. And it's whatever your group is. As I said, right now, the early career physicians, these are the people that are struggling to find their kind of people. And they can find great mentors, not necessarily one on one, just in the group, even. And if we can shape them and guide them in the right direction, one example was a fellows call we just had where we gave them the advice, get your disability insurance before you graduate or early on in your career before you start developing blood pressure or diabetes or you get older and then it becomes expensive. So if somebody had given me that kind of advice back in the day, that would have really helped me. And that's what we're trying to avoid these other people to not get it. And also personal support, especially women's forums. But all these forums, they're like, hey, we agree with you, we don't agree with you, why we don't agree with you, things like that. And someone said the other day, they're amazed at the strength of WhatsApp really is that people used to go to conferences before to get an education, to get networking, looking for advice and knowledge. And this is exactly like totally unofficial, informal ways that didn't exist in the past, even for clinical advice, any of them. You're getting everything, you're getting instantly, and you're getting it from the people that are like you. And that's the best part, I think, about these groups.
Yeah, and you're getting it for free.
Yes, of
Like,
course.
no, it's invaluable wisdom, and you're getting it for free. Like, so, I
Right.
need to highlight that as well.
Vetted information from people that are in your position, other gastroenterologists that you know are authentic people, not just anyone and everyone giving you advice.
Yeah, and not with a vested interest or something. Like, it's just coming from the heart. I want to thank you so much for all that you do for the GI community and coming on the Scope Forward show and sharing it. So this has been invaluable. Uh,
Yeah.
thanks a lot.
Pleasure is all mine, and I'm glad that, like I said, I don't take the credit for it. It happens because the people in it and everybody that's contributing to it. I just like create a group is my job, and that's the end of it. And they take it from there. They actually monitor each other, and they're like, "You shouldn't do this. This won't be allowed. This and that." So once you start it, it takes on its own life, and that's the beauty of it. And I'm so thankful for the community and everybody that is doing this and they're trying to share their experience and helping each other out. And that's the beauty of it. I'm glad to be part of this and continue to grow this.
Thank you, Neelima.
Okay, thanks a lot.